There's been a number of changes since the last time I was on the channel. I ended up taking it apart further. I wanted to figure out why it's fouling plugs, and I want to say it's because of the valve cover gasket. You could see a lot of RTV on it, and I don't think it's sealing anymore. Prying the valve cover off, I ended up cracking a piece of the plastic, so I got a new one coming in. As for the coolant problem, I want to say this is what it is. Previously, the drain plug on it has been RTV'd, and that didn't hold. But after pulling the expansion tank off and this, I noticed that there's some damage done on where the expansion tank goes onto. Because of that, I think I haven't been able to get a proper seal with the expansion tanks, because there shouldn't be anything wrong with this. It's new, didn't want to seal then, it didn't want to seal the last one. I ended up putting more RTV on it last year and still didn't seal on it properly. Further took it apart and ordered this piece along with a couple other stuff just because it came with the thing I ordered. And that'll hopefully allow me to mount the expansion tank and properly bleed the coolant system. As you can see, there's a lot of RTV on it. I want to say this gasket's no good, hence why there's a bunch of RTV on it. I ended up cracking a piece of the valve cover when I was trying to take it off. Surprisingly clean under the valve cover. I'm actually impressed. With that changed, hopefully it'll solve the problem of it fouling both cylinder 4 and 6. If not, I'm just going to live with it fouling those plugs regularly and just keep cleaning them up as I go once it starts to run a little bit rough. The last thing I got to fix before the car could leave the shop is the section of brake line that's rotted. I'm going to borrow some tools. I don't have a flitter kit or any of that, so I'm going to pull the brake line off and cut a section out and just send in a patch. After that, this should be relatively good to go, and that means I could pull it out of the shop and continue working on doing more things. As mentioned previously, I don't want to drop the subframe yet. I want to make sure I have a nice area to do it. It's still cold out here. How it sits now, I have some parts on order coming in, and it should be ready to put back together for hopefully the weekend. This is filmed on Tuesday night. Yeah, we're 1 a.m. on Wednesday, so I'm going to be packing it up shortly, edit part of this, and continue on, wait for the parts, and I'll be back with you guys when they're in. All right, it's another night working on the E46. I didn't make much progress since the last update, but I do have something here. That means I got the tools to tear apart that brake line. So I'm going to go underneath the car tonight, cut out the section I need so I could figure out which size brake line I need to go get and what size flare nuts, I guess. I don't really know what the term is. It'll be my first time doing anything with brake lines, so I'm just hoping it works. I have the idea of what I need to do. I just had no clue what I'm actually doing. Cool. And not off to a good start. That's just rounding. Off to a 9mm maybe? Try that. But it's fully round and crusty. So if it does break loose, I think it's just gonna snap. So, I mean, kind of crossing my fingers for that, because. And then fuck it, send a self-tapper through the floor to fix it.
I'm very surprised that came off, to be honest. Now, with this stuff sort of out of the way, I should be able to access the brake lines. And there we go. Your steel lines should not be flexible.
Well, it's another night working on the car, but I got my new valve cover, so I'm going to do a time lapse of me pulling this off and putting the new one on. It's got new gaskets and everything, so it should be as simple as just taking it off, putting the new one on. That should hopefully be the last thing. I was under the car dealing with the brake lines earlier this week. I didn't film any of it, but I was just putting unions and patching in a section of brake line. I ended up getting the parts for the coolant system in, changed the expansion tank, and it seems to be holding water. I haven't ran it to open up the thermostat. After the valve cover goes on, that'll be what I'm doing, so enjoy it. I'm going to be putting this back together. And fingers crossed everything works, and then it'll be bleed the brakes, and I can get it out of here.
I'm sick, I really need some help. I've been trying to get a job, but it didn't work out. I've been feeling like a bitch, you know that I fucking doubt. I'm sorry that I tried too hard to be myself. I know that I'm sick, I really need some help. I've been trying to get a job, but it didn't work out. I've been feeling like a bitch, you know that I fucking. I'm sorry that I tried too hard to be myself. I know that I'm sick, I really need some help. I've been trying to get a job, but it didn't work out. I've been feeling like a bitch, you know that I fucking doubt. I'm sorry that I tried too hard to be myself. I know that I'm sick, I really need some help. I've been trying to get a job, but it didn't work out. I've been feeling like a bitch, you know that I fucking doubt. I'm sorry that I know that I'm sick, I really need some help. I'm trying to get a job, feeling like a bitch, you know that I fucking. I'm sorry that I know that I'm sick, I really need some help. I'm trying to get a job, feeling like a bitch, you know that I fucking. I'm sorry that I tried too hard to be myself. I know that I'm sick.
I don't know how many nights I've been working on this car at this point, but it's almost back together. I'm going to throw the intake back on and finish bleeding the brakes, which will be the final thing where I could throw the wheels back on and go for a quick test drive. I ended up picking up a solo bleeder kit. It's my first time trying that on my own. Right now I'm heat cycling the final caliper bleeder bolt. They've all been seized, and luckily I've been able to take the torch to them and get them to break free. I'm hoping for the best, and I'll update you guys once I figure out if it's running, driving, and good to go. But I'm excited to get this thing off jack stands. It's been too long. If all goes to plan, it'll be coming to autocross with me on Sunday, and I'm going to get in trouble for drifting because I got a welded diff and I can't drive respectfully if you give me that. I also don't want to forget that I got the foreman with me today. She's taking care of pest control. Go get him. The shop's a mess, eh, Lily? We're gonna get it all cleaned up. But we gotta finish this car first. It's definitely neat to see the car on the ground again for once. First test drive was going good, till it wasn't. I put one of my old expansion tanks in, and I think it hit the accessory drive once again. I do have 2 more expansion tanks here. Both are used, but hopefully we can get something out of at least one of them. This one I don't have faith in, but instead of pulling it all apart again tonight, I'm just gonna hope for that. It's not all completely back together, but I did want to drive it before I did finish up. It's been sitting here too long, so I'm impressed. It's running engine-wise better than it's ever ran while I've owned it. From a quick forum search, I found out that either my rad's not seated properly, it's a little bit further back than it should, or my motor mounts are really bad and it shifts the motor enough that it hits into the expansion tank. I think it's worth looking into the motor mounts, see what kind of condition they're in. I also think I'm going to just take apart the front clip and see if the rad's not seated properly, as that would cost less money if that's actually what the case is. A couple things have happened since the last update. Pulled it into the shop and started ripping stuff apart. I have a new rad here, so I figured worst case scenario, I can change the rad. I have one. But I did find out what the problem is. Because I looked at the engine mounts, they don't look too bad, and running the car and revving it while parked, it's not having any extreme shaking on the motor, so I didn't think it was the motor mounts. Coming on to the rad support, this side's decent. I'm thinking with drivetrain shock, like when I dump the clutch or something, it shifts that enough forward. I didn't have that movement when I had all this on, so I wasn't sure about that. Now that I do know, I'm going to pull the rad off, and I'm going to see if it's fixable or if I need a new support. Well, I've officially stayed up till daylight, but I got the E46 all torn apart, and I got a plan for it for later today, but I also gotta go get some sleep. So that's it for tonight. Was disassembly. Really figure out if that's gonna be what fixes it, and if I'll have it back together. This thing's been on jack stands for a long time and in pieces. Will I have it back together to go racing on Sunday with it?